if you would like to see me and join in live for our Buddhist book club that I have with my community, all you'll need to do is go to the comments section of this post, and I will post the link as the newest comment, so you can tune in and join us. Okay, so oh, um, so I'm having trouble posting the link here. Okay, I just posted the link in the reply to Below Light. Below Light said, what happened to the video link? And I just posted it in the comments. So if you sort by new, in the comments, if you sort by new, you should see the link that I just posted, and everyone can perhaps update that. And then if you want to join in for our Buddhist book club, some meditation, you'll be able to join in live with my community through Discord on the YouTube live stream. See if people find it. Yeah, see people have found it. Great. And if you can't find the link, just write a comment that says, what's the link? And I'll respond. Okay, so we'll now be switching over to focusing on the Buddhist book club. So we'll keep the stream going, and so you can just listen here through Reddit. But if you really want to have the better experience, then please do click the link. If you sort the comments by new, you should find it, and you can join in the YouTube live stream for our group practice. It's a great way to have some deep meditation. Okay, hello Nikki, hello Anushka, Donald, Fabian, Ricky, C. Hello everyone. And if you're joining in through YouTube, make sure to say hello, especially if you plan to join for the full gathering, which will be about an hour probably, but we don't know. So if you're planning to join for the full thing, make sure that you say hello. Know that you're here. So I see Susie, Ricky, Barry, Ryan, Alexander on YouTube. And I see that Francie, you just joined. Wessel, Ricky. Amitofo, see. Namo Amitabha. Hello there, Mara and Speedwagon and Janelle. Hello, Jagger and CKA, Kathleen, and Sam. Hello there, Wu Choi. Welcome. So as we come into this space, we can start to, you can take, we can start to slow down, start to relax, start to focus on the breath. I'm sure for a lot of us, we have had a busy day so far. I know that I have. So this is our time to really start slowing down, to start settling, finding our comfortable position for the body. Welcome, Castle and Anna and Jamie, Janelle, Luke, Martine, Sep, Suraj. Glad that you're all here. Okay, Castle gives a wave and Wessel is blowing smoke. Some kind of smoke there. Hi there, Riley and Kit. Nice to see you here, Luke. And Anastasia and Kate, welcome. And Danny, hi there, Danny. So I know some people are listening through Reddit. And if you want to join for the YouTube live stream for this Buddhist book club, You can simply search for Monk Life on YouTube. You should see our live stream that is going. Hey there, Steph. Just waking up? Okay, great. This is a good time to wake up. Okay, so we'll start our practice today, our Buddhist book club, where we are reading through Ajahn Brahm's The Art of Disappearing, which is a book that is so chock full of wisdom that we're going to be needing to watch our weight, our heaviness, because we're taking in so much wisdom. So to prepare for that meal that we are about to have of wisdom, insight, deep meditation practice being shared with us through the teachings, we'll take a few moments to settle and open up and to empty, to release and relax anything that we've been holding on to up to this point. So as usual in meditation, we need to find our meditation position, find that comfortable, emphasizing comfortable, make sure that your body is relaxed and in a nice position. Finding that comfortable, stable position in which to turn inward, to turn towards the breath. So as we hear the sound of the bell, we are invited to start our meditation practice with a few deep breaths. And as we breathe in deeply, having this sense of bringing the mind home to the body. Breathing in deeply and bringing our full awareness, our full presence, reeling it in, bringing it home to the body. Inviting the sound of the bell.
taking these few moments to just breathe and be aware, to bring the mind home to the body, to relax, to settle for a few moments before we begin our reading, feeling this refuge, this safety, this coming home of just breathing, just being aware. Giving ourselves the full permission for these few moments to just breathe and be aware. Everything else is not our business, not our worry, not to be involved with. But for these few moments to just breathe and be aware. Allowing the body to be still, allowing the breath to find a natural rhythm. Just breathing. Just being aware. So asking this question of what is this, we open ourselves up to find out, to not be stuck in the same mindset, the same way of thinking, the same way of understanding, but to open ourselves up to what is this, to open ourselves up to truth. So we're going to continue with our reading of Ajahn Brahm's book, The Art of Disappearing. And we are now on the subject of solving the problem. And this solving the problem is to deal with suffering, to deal with our dissatisfaction, to deal with our constant state of not being satisfied, not being fulfilled. So, certainly most of us will be interested in this, solving the problem. As we go through this, we'll have short breaks to share. If we have a question or if something sticks out to us, we can share about it. How many times have you tried to solve the problem? You'll be trying to solve it not just until you die, but for many more lifetimes. Instead, understand that this world is just the play of the senses. It is the 5 skandhas doing their thing: forms, feelings, perceptions, inclinations, and discernments that we have. It has nothing to do with you. It's just people being people, the world being the world. Sometimes at our monastery, you can see large flocks of cockatoos. They are very noisy. Some people say they don't like the sound of cockatoos, but whether you like them or not, they still make the same noise. So why not disengage? As a meditator, I used to ask myself, why does noise disturb me? Whether it's the sound of a bird outside or someone coughing or slamming the door in the main hall, why do I hear that? Why can't I do the same as I do with my eyes? Find some lids and shut my ears. Through contemplating sound and understanding how it works, it became quite clear that the only reason I heard it was because I went out to listen to it. There was an active engagement with the world of sound. That's why it was disturbing. Ajahn Chah used to say that it's not the sound that disturbs you. It is you who disturbs the sound. That was a very profound saying, and it meant a lot to me. I used that to understand the nature of sound and why it's so disturbing. When someone calls you a pig, an idiot, or whatever, you don't need to listen to it. We hear it because we are interested in it. We engage with and are attached to the world of sound. But when we realize that sounds just come according to their nature, we get nibbida. We get this sense of disenchantment. So when we realize that sounds are just sounds in and of themselves, sounds in and of themselves aren't disturbing. It's us, it's our reactivity that goes out and holds on, becomes enchanted by that sound that disturbs it. So when someone calls you a pig, an idiot, or whatever, you don't need to listen to it. We hear it because we are interested in it. We engage with and are attached to the world of sound. But when we realize that sounds just come according to their nature, we get nibbida. We get this sense of disenchantment, no longer taken by the spell of reactivity to the sound. And there's this truth here that the sound itself is not the problem. It's our reactivity to it. It's our involvement with it. There are nice sounds, crazy sounds, and the sounds of the birds. Some birds sound sweet, and some birds, like crows, sound terrible. But it's not the fault of the crows. It's just their nature. It's the same in the monastery. Some novices are like crows, and some are like nightingales. Some monks speak beautifully, some speak terribly. It is their nature, that's all. It has nothing to do with us, and therefore we should disengage. So this is something that really empowers us to be independent in the world. And it's not a sense of not caring. It's not a sense of indifference. It's not indifference. That's right. Thank you, Mickey. It's not indifference, but it's a sense of recognizing that our reactivity is not that. That is just that. That person is just expressing themselves. Our reactivity is something that we can work with and that we should be aware of. That's where disenchantment comes into play. But what other people are saying about us or how other people are expressing themselves in our direction, it's not actually related to us. It's related to them. So it's not an indifference, but it's an awareness of the truth that what they are saying is not based in us. Our reactivity is based in us, and we need to deal with that. But the sound itself, the way that people speak, the way that people act towards us, has nothing to do with us. And therefore, we should disengage. We should become disenchanted by our reactivity to how they present themselves. So it's this kind of equanimity, this balanced awareness, and this clear seeing, seeing according to the truth that what's being seen is not related to us. It's not related to me and my story, but it's their experience that they're sharing. It's their nature. And when we go even deeper, it's just the sound. It's not even, this person is like that or they've had these experiences. It's just sound. When we disengage from these things through nibbida, through disenchantment, they fade away. Suffering fades away when the cause of suffering fades away. The sense world starts to disappear when we are not so concerned with changing it. So we talked a little bit earlier on in this book about the a healing that takes place when we stop engaging in stimulating ourselves, when we actually give ourselves time to rest and time to be non-enchanted, to see what's happening as not our business. So we just let things work themselves out according to their nature. Ajahn Brahm was saying that even when we sit still and we notice that there are sensations in the body, well, there's two ways that you can go about that. One way is, oh, I'm feeling pain, I'm feeling tension, I don't like that, I need to move, I need to do something, or I'm feeling pleasure, this is so good, this is so pleasurable. But another way is this recognition that that sensation is not us. It's just a sensation. And so we can say, that's not my business. We let the body take care of the body. We let sounds take care of sounds. We don't need to constantly be including ourselves in it. So when we disengage from experiences, what people say to us, the quality of experiences, if they're pleasant or unpleasant, through this disenchantment, this recognition that it's not my business, it's not actually me, it doesn't actually relate to me, they fade away. So I think it's an interesting idea that if we don't feed into, or if we fully recognize that someone else's presentation of what they feel about us, what they think about us, when we recognize fully that that's not us, it doesn't even relate to us, we become disenchanted by it, no longer taken in by that spell of their perception, it disappears. That perception in that other person vanishes. But most importantly, with ourselves, our experiences, our reactivity, they fade away. When we stop engaging, it fades away. When we stop self-identifying with what we experience, that it somehow relates to this long story of me, my, I, then it disappears, it fades away. Suffering fades away when the cause of suffering fades away. The sense world starts to disappear when we are not so concerned with changing it. When we disengage from it with nibbida, this sense of disentanglement, we are repelled by it and reject it. This is because nibbida comes from seeing the world as it actually is. With it, we move in a different direction from the rest of the world. So I think this we are repelled by it and reject it is kind of letting go of the process of tangling and seeing clearly that we don't wish to be tangled up anymore. And we reject this process of, we detach from this process of getting ourself tangled up in our experiences. So this is a stopping point. Would anyone like to share something that's come up for them, or a question about what we've read so far? In terms of solving the problem? It's quite deep teachings. Um, Even for me, I have to, take a step back and really try to absorb and meditate with the guidance, with the teachings. Um, so don't be afraid to meditate through this and just practicing through it. You don't need to work it all out in your mind. Kit, did you want to speak up? Okay, go ahead, Kit.
Um, let's see. I've been meditating every day for around 11 months now. I live in a house with four other people, six other cats, and one other dog. And there's not a lot of opportunity often for me to have a very quiet place. And there's been many times where I go to meditate and there's a roommate listening to music. There's another one that has a TV blasting, and sometimes I sit there and I'm trying to just focus on my breath, and I'll get angry. I'll be like, how dare they interrupt my silence? But it's not my silence. I don't get to own the noise volume in the house. And instead I can say that I can just let their noise be, and I can enjoy what I'm listening to, which is not listening. At least that's what I found out of what you were talking about.
Hi, Bante. So something that the reading reminded me of is, it's one thing that we might think about is, when people criticize, but another is praise. I think that sometimes for me, I get attached to the praise that I receive from maybe family or friends from things that I'm doing in my life. And then that can cause me to live my life in a certain way that is almost approval seeking, where I'm doing things more so because I think about what other people are saying or thinking about what I'm doing as opposed to what I'm really doing for myself. So that's just kind of what came up for me. Just, made me think a bit more about whether the actions I'm taking are really things that I should be doing, or if it's doing them because I'm attached to the sound and this, the ideas being conveyed by other people about what's going on.
Yeah, that's great. And you can question that as deeply as you want to. You can look as deeply into that as you like, and find what's your real heart direction in all that. And another thing you brought up is that this also applies to pleasure. This also applies to pleasant sounds and getting involved in the self-identification with pleasantness and pleasure and enjoying, you know. Um, so it's both sides that we are becoming disenchanted from. We're not just becoming disenchanted from unpleasantness, but we're also becoming disenchanted from pleasantness, because neither will satisfy us. Neither will bring us to a place of peace. So Alexander R. shared something in YouTube. Alexander R. said, when you feel yourself getting attached to some sound or some feeling, what is the mental dialogue that you should go through to reverse walking down the road to becoming impacted by the external? So this is what we talked about yesterday. This was the main focus of yesterday's reading. Does anyone know what that mantra is or what that dialogue is? Someone here on YouTube can say it, or here at the temple. To walk ourselves back, to walk ourselves down from getting into that reactivity, attaching to that external or internal. That's not my business. So when we feel those reactivities coming up in our lives and our practice with other people or with a noise or whatever it might be, if something is out of our control, and sounds and sights and the state of the world and the state of the body are certainly not really in our control, we can say, that is not my business. And this supports us to be recognizing that we can't control it, so it's not our business. And whatever we can't control, we can say, that's not my business. And that supports us to become disenchanted from it. For this sense, this feeling of disenchantment to arise, disengaging, disinterest.
Could I ask a question about that?
Yes, Steph, go ahead.
Um, obviously, is there a danger in becoming complacent when you can do something about a certain situation where there's like an imperative to do something when you can help someone out, or I'm not sure. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this came up yesterday, and the qualifiers here is that it's if something is not in your control. So let's say that you are sitting here practicing meditation and you feel sensations in your body, painful sensations in your body. Can you control that? Can you control the sensations in your body? No. You can't really control your reactivity to those sensations for the most part, right? So that's not my business. Noticing a pain in my knee, right? It's unpleasant, it's slightly unpleasant, doesn't feel good, right? And to say that's not my business. I'll let the body take care of that. Very practically, like that's what I'll be practicing right now. And if you're driving and you go up to a stoplight, a red light, can you control if you drive through that red light or not? Yeah. Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, I mean, you're going to be arrested very quickly, Steph. You know, when the police officer pulls you over, you say, "That's not my business." Well, it is your business because you can control that. So being very practical, and this specifically is talking about in our meditation practice. And that's really the qualifier. If it's something that you can control, then, well, yeah, then that's your business. But if it's something that you cannot control in any way, then you can say very deeply, very truly that that is not my business. And in some sense, it's an invitation for us to go deeper in our practice, and it's to support us going deeper in our practice. Okay, and that's what the teaching is there for. It's not what was the word, Mickey? It's not indifference. It's not a callousness or indifference, but it's it's a recognition that you cannot control that situation fully. So you're with it, but you are not under this false impression that you can somehow control it. Okay, so Anna is saying, I tend to disassociate and to detach from sound or situations in life is not the same as disassociate that from them. So to disassociate is not the same as to detach. When we disassociate, we partially detach from that thing, but still react. There's still a part of me that feels and thinks something, even when I say I am not feeling that's something at the moment. So I can control moving out partially because it's not my business, but there's a part of me dealing with it. Thing is, in real detachment, I am not supposed to feel or interpret in any way what is happening, any part of me. I don't know if I am clear on what I am saying. or even if I understood the lecture. Yeah, I'm not super clear about what you're saying, but that's okay. Um, maybe you can try to simplify it and I can understand a bit more, or that um, or you can say that that's not my business and let it go. Disassociate. Okay, maybe we can touch on this a little bit more later, Anna. But yeah, try to talk about it as simply as possible. So let's continue on with the reading here. The messengers of truth. Another way to look at this disengagement from the world is to regard it as a movement into the mind, our silent center. Sometimes you can see how the world of your home, the world of your friends, or even of Buddhism can pull you out of your center. You can feel the pull. You've been pulled out like that your entire life. And what has it ever done for you? I think for some of us, this book is even pulling us out, pulling us into the text here. You can feel the pull. You've been pulled out like that your entire life. And what has it ever done for you? When people leave the monastery, it's usually because of the opposite sex. Is that going to make them happy? Many years ago, the title of the main feature of Punch magazine was Advice for Those Who Are About to Be Married. The two center pages were blank except for 4 letters, don't. They had understood the suffering of marriage. Don't think that you are different, that you can escape the suffering because you are special or wiser than others. It is the arrogance of the ego to think that you're better, that you can avoid the difficulties and problems that everyone else faces in life. When I was young, I too used to have fantasies. I learned to stop them from grabbing a hold of me by following them to their logical conclusion. I would think, then what? Then what? And I wouldn't stop until I had the full picture. With fantasies such as falling in love, getting married, and riding off into the sunset, the then what took all the fun out of it. Because the then what was just empty. There was no color, brightness, joy, or happiness anymore. Because the then what would be whatever everyone else experiences. When the fun part dissipates and fades away, you're back where you started. Moreover, you haven't understood anything about life. You're just trying to get by, to get a few moments of pleasure and happiness. In the end, you're just hurtling toward old age and separation from those you love. What is the point? But if you follow the path of nibbida, of detachment, you are wise. To detach is wise. You have already experienced enough suffering, which means you have enough data to work with. Reflect on that suffering when you have difficulties and build up the nibbida. During a retreat, you will have times when you get bored, or in meditation. If you've got aching legs or you're just sitting there not knowing what to do, you don't want to meditate, walk, or read, and you're bored out of your skull, investigate boredom. If you investigate suffering, there is no moment of a retreat or a period of meditation that you can't make use of, that you can't exploit for your own personal growth and training. The training of the mind is not in controlling things, but in understanding them. Look upon the difficulties and disappointments as the messengers of truth. Look upon the difficulties and disappointments as the messengers of truth. Ajahn Chah, who was a great monk and teacher, always called these things the senior teachers. Senior teachers don't live in Thailand or Asia in some great monastery. That is just a fantasy great teacher. The true great teachers will be in your hut, in your home. When you wake up in the morning and you're so tired that you don't want to get out of bed. Those great teachers will be there when you're sitting for long periods of time and getting absolutely nowhere. The real great teacher will be there when you're on retreat, wondering how many days are left. When somebody doesn't put the right food in your bowl, or you're just about to get into deep meditation and a crow makes a loud noise, or whatever else it is that really disappoints and frustrates you. That is a teacher. It's to be contemplated, listened to, penetrated, and understood. So the great and powerful teachers of our difficulties, of our sufferings, of our disappointments, of our boredom. And certainly that's a teacher that will stick with you for the duration of your life in your meditation practice. And sometimes we're not in a point or a position to fully understand a particular teaching. It may not just be the sound that we're able to receive, that we're able to understand at this point. But our suffering, our difficulty, our disappointment, our dissatisfaction, that teaching can be understood. That teaching can be looked at very, very deeply in this moment and at any moment. Whether you're having McDonald's, eating ice cream, bored out of your mind in meditation, this suffering, this dissatisfaction is there. And this truth that craving, tangling yourself up in trying to get what you want, is the cause of that suffering, not the solution to it. So when we recognize that, when we experience that very, very deeply, this nibbida arises, this disenchantment from engaging with the outside world, engaging with ourselves, identifying with the outside world, identifying with ourselves. We are disenchanted by this spell of craving, of chasing, of trying to get and trying to get rid of, because it's just more and more knots. And the more that we struggle to get and to get rid of, the deeper those knots become. So when we look at it closely, this disenchantment, this no interest in tangling ourselves becomes very alive, very clear. And we have this real ability to disentangle, to disenchant ourselves from the situation that we find ourselves in. to be in that situation, to hear the crow making the noise, but that's not my business. And it's very enlightening to be able to do that. That's not my business. This whole thing is not my business. It's very empowering. For Kit, when he's doing his meditation, Kit's a very serious practitioner, and he's doing very serious meditation, right? How dare these people be making noise? That's not my business. And the meditation is there. That disenchantment is there. And being with that suffering, being with that great teacher of suffering, of difficulty, supports us in this disenchantment. Because it doesn't matter if you're moving towards getting what you want or trying to move away from getting what you don't want. It's just tangling you up. So be revulsed, be repulsed, be disenchanted, reject craving, reject these ways of try to get rid of. Just be aware and not confused. And if confusion comes up, if boredom comes up, if it's just you're at the end of the line, focus on your suffering. Focus on this feeling of deep dissatisfaction, of deep boredom. Give your full attention to it. And this will also empower you, this teaching. Suffering as a teacher, difficulty as a teacher, unsatisfactoriness as a teacher. But first we have to become disenchanted. Getting what you want is not going to solve the problem. Avoiding what you don't want is not going to solve the problem. It doesn't work. We've all tried it. We've spent our whole lives trying it up until now. I'm going to try and get what I want. I'm going to do all these different things to get what I want. I'm going to do all these different things to avoid what I don't want. We're back at the same place. We wasted our time. And we didn't develop our understanding of ourselves or the world. So recognizing that, nibbida arises, disenchantment arises. Disenchantment from pleasure, disenchantment from pain. Disenchantment from praise. Wow, you're so wonderful. Disenchantment from, you're a horrible person. Look at you. What a mess. That's not my business. Even when we say it to ourselves. Oh, you're not a good monk. Oh, you're such a great monk. That's not my business, sir, whoever you are. That's not my business. So there's a lot of freedom there. Do we have any questions or something we want to share about this reading? So this book is a lot heavier, a lot denser than I expected. So we're all very lucky to find ourselves in this trap of heaviness. And slowly but surely we can work through it and get what we can get out of it, get the wisdom that we can understand together out of it. As much as I would like to be enlightened in this way or that, this is the best I got. And so we rely on each other to get through this and to learn and to grow. to ask questions and share our wisdom. And in that way, we surely will get a lot of benefit and a lot of wealth from this reading. Okay, so let's take a few final minutes to meditate together. So maybe stretch out your leg or stretch out for a moment if you've got any aches and pains that are hanging around. And then we can find our meditation position. Just sit comfortably, sit upright. Can close our eyes. Turn our mind around. Turn the light around so we start to look inside. We start to notice our internal experience rather than our external experience. And as we start to focus on our breath, breathing as deeply as we need to, we can bring up this mind that maybe getting what I want and avoiding what I don't want is not the solution. And instead, at this moment, to be fully aware of the body, fully aware of the breath and the mind, fully aware of what's happening right now, and to try out this practice of that's not my business. Let sound be sound, sensations be sensations. Let the breath be the breath. Detach, give up, let go. Just breathing and being aware. No longer enchanted, no longer stuck in reactivity, no longer chasing after pleasure or trying to avoid pain. Just breathing and being aware. Thoughts may come up, sensations in the body, pleasant or unpleasant. That's not my business. Uninvolved, aware. Just breathing and being aware. So we can start to slowly move our body, massage the face, the head. When you are ready, you can get in front of you a copy of the Heart Sutra if you like. Also, you have the opportunity to just listen. The Heart Sutra is this very powerful, traditional, wise chant, teaching that is oftentimes chanted in the morning service of temples around the world, especially Zen temples. And A few key terms here is Bodhisattva Avalovikiteshvara is like the embodiment of compassion. The 5 skandhas are the aggregates that make up our human experience. So feelings, forms, perceptions, the physical body, the mental body. Dharmas means phenomena, all things that occur, all things that happen. Bodhisattva is someone who puts off their own enlightenment, their own transformation, their own ending of suffering to benefit all beings. And prajna paramita has this meaning of great and purifying wisdom, ultimate wisdom. And finally, gate gate paragate parasamgate bodhisvaha has this meaning of gone, gone, completely gone beyond, all the way to the other shore, completely free of suffering. Okay, so let's all chant the Heart Sutra together. Maha Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. When the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara was coursing in the deeper Prajna Paramita, they realized that all the 5 skandhas are empty, thereby transcending all sufferings. O Shariputra, form is not other than emptiness, and emptiness not other than form. Form is precisely emptiness, and emptiness precisely form. So also are sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness. Shariputra, this form of the emptiness of all dharmas is non-arising, non-perishing, non-impure, non-pure, non-increasing, and non-decreasing. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, and no sensation, perception, volition, or consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind. No sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or thought. There is no realm of the eye, all the way up to no realm of consciousness. There is no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, through to no aging and death, and no ending of aging and death. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, and also no attainment. With nothing to attain, bodhisattvas relying on prajna paramita have no obstructions in their minds. Having no obstructions, there is no fear, and departing far from confusion and delusion, they reach ultimate nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future, relying on prajna paramita, attain supreme Buddhahood. Therefore, the prajna paramita is the great mantra of power, the great mantra of wisdom, the supreme mantra and the unequaled mantra which is able to transcend all sufferings. It is real and not false. Therefore, he uttered the mantra of prajna paramita by saying, Gate, gate, para, samgate, bodhisvaha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, dear friends and everyone participating, everyone joining in, thank you so much for being here, especially everyone joining on the Discord. I'm really appreciating your practice, your continued efforts, your continued practice, and I hope that this is supporting your life, more peace, more happiness, more joy, and more disenchantment. We're not so caught up by the spells of the world, the perceptions of others, or even our own perceptions. Not so caught up, not so confused. We can always rely on just breathing, just being aware. Okay? Thank you. See you all again soon, all right?
Thank you, Bante.